Shayna J. was an ordinary mom and wife seeking to find her path to awareness and healing. Then the unthinkable happened. Her story will teach you how to heal yourself of pain and illness. Through her tragedy, she found her life's purpose. Trust that you are loved beyond any measurement outside of you and believe in yourself and the power that God lives within you. Listen to her story. Well, welcome to Sohaila TV. Thank you so much for joining us. Right here, right in front of me, I have this amazing woman just sitting here. She's going to tell you her story, and it's going to definitely empower you today. So welcome, Shayna.
Thank you.
So before we get started, I was looking at your website, and I had to actually just read this for you right in front of the audience here. Okay. Trust that you are loved beyond any measurement outside of you and believe in yourself and the power that God lives within you. That is so profound. Now, I want to know where that statement came from in the first place. Because, I mean, just listening to that, it got chills up and down my body. It really resonates inside of you if you really listen to those words. Now, you came up with those because something happened to you back in 1997. And we all want to hear your story, and it's going to empower so many. So thank you for being here. And let me know about your life, please.
Thank you. I'm pretty sure now that this happened because there's a big message for humanity now. And so what happened is that I was living in Sedona, Arizona after moving from Southern California, and pretty much realizing that my life wasn't any kind of life that was worth living. It just didn't feel like it. I felt like every day was the same day. I felt like I was pretty much very insecure, very much in denial, very much just doing what other people wanted me to do. And while I'm a happy person, and very enthusiastic about life, there was this underneath drone, if you will, this kind of mundane, everyday, I wouldn't say boring, but I want to say boring.
Yeah. It was like you were in a rut.
In a rut that I couldn't get out of. And it was really frustrating. And so one day I went for a hike. My girlfriend, a woman that I had been coaching, said that she wanted to really do a tough hike because she wanted to get in shape for a bigger hike. And I said, good, I know a really good one. And I had taken people up there before. So, and the very next day, another gentleman friend of mine said that he wanted to join us. So we planned to meet, and we get to the base of the mountain, and we have a little prayer that we say before we enter the land, and because we consider the land sacred, especially in Sedona. That's what I learned from the Native Americans there, and all the learning how to be more spiritual in my life, because that was the only thing that was giving me juice. That was the only thing that was really making me happy, and I couldn't get enough of it, and so I did a lot. I didn't believe it all, but I did a lot of it. So that morning we said that prayer, and we decided that we wanted to have the hike be silent, so we wouldn't be chattering to each other, which was, I wanted to connect to the land, and I wanted my friend who was powering herself up to really feel connected to, grounded. If she's going to do a hard hike, she needs to be really paying attention to what she's doing and learn how to maneuver the land in her own body. So we go up all the way up, and on the way up, there's this beautiful cave. It literally almost looks like a womb entering it. It's so big, and then it's too big to take one big leap up. So you kind of climb up this little area, and then it feels just amazing in there. And then you walk across, and there's this skinny ledge that goes across. And so being a dancer all my life, I had learned how to do lots of different ways to make my body strong and feel confident. And so I would take the wall, the back of the wall, have my back to the back of the wall and just sidestep it. That was good. So we go all the way there, and we had to climb over these big boulders through crevices and things like that. It was just really fun.
A lot of fun.
A lot of fun. And then we climbed up, and we finally got to the mesa, hung out there, could see 100 miles in every direction. It's so beautiful. Bluest skies you've ever seen. I mean, California has blue skies, but
Nothing like this.
real blue, clear. I mean, it's amazing.
Beautiful.
So, so on the way back, we did the same thing. And while we were after the boulders, I'm on the skinny ledge, and I'm using my back to, to sidestep. And at some point, I either stepped too hard on my right foot to push me back, or there was a protrusion coming out of the rock, so I just moved my ribs a little bit so it wouldn't gouge me, or I felt a little nudge. I'm not sure. But my first thought as I started falling through this to nothingness was, oh, I know, I'll just turn around and grab onto the ledge. So I did that, and I was watching my nails just all flip off, and that was the end. After that, I said, just let go. As soon as I said, just let go, well, I don't know if that was a conscious thought. Literally, I felt an energy in my body that wasn't my body. It wasn't my energy. And it was so strong and so powerful that I knew that I would be fine. But it wasn't a conscious thought. It was kind of in the knowing of the nothingness that this is all there is this moment. So my friends tell me I bounced quite a bit off of the rocks, landed on my back, and as I'm landing, when I landed, I had the sun in my eyes, so I immediately closed my eyes, and this energy it just is indescribable. It's so huge, and it's so unlike how we think of ourselves, as humans. So my belly energy started becoming felt like it was getting vacuumed out of me. And in my inner eye, I saw my silver cord, going like this, out, and it was not stopping. It was going infinitely.
So was
out.
it like a spiral or something?
It was more like a wave like this.
Wow. Interesting.
But somehow that came to me, and I saw that, and at the same time, I'm feeling like I'm being emptied of my own energy. And so it makes me wonder, was there a shift that took place? Because when I did speak, my girlfriend was already beside me. And what I said was, this is a fine experience to have.
You actually said that?
Yes.
Wow.
And then she said, surrender to the experience, which just was the perfect thing to hear, given that I had surrendered when I was falling anyway. It just felt right. And I said, okay. And then I said, I choose to have this experience in joy and ease and grace. And so be it, that's just was my declaration.
Maybe that was the connection when people don't surrender to something that has happened to them. Maybe that is the key point, to surrender to what happened to you instead of fight it. That's a great analogy right there.
Because what we do as humans is we really resist life.
We do.
And we don't embrace it, and that's why we want to try to live in the moment. But there's no try, as Yoda said. No try, just do.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
That was amazing. And for you, you were conscious the whole time.
Yes.
Even just hitting down as well.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, I told this story when, well, I started teaching what I had learned out of healing my body, and I'll just give you this one little piece. And I taught in this place in Northern California, and this woman, years later, I saw her, that I taught at her house, and she said to me, Shana, you will not believe what happened to me. I was in a car accident, and I saw cars coming from every direction, pointed at me, and she remembered me and my story, and she said, God help me. She was in the middle of the 6-car crash, and she was the only one who had no injuries, and she ended up getting the car of her dreams.
Really? Oh my God. I want to know her car insurance company.
Well, this was years ago, but the point is the surrendering. The point is to let go. The point is to ask for help.
Right.
The point is to know that you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so while I'm laying there on the ground, I actually adjusted my body to be a bit more comfortable. I didn't feel like I was landed well.
Well,
So, right? And so I was bleeding, and then my friend who was a Reiki master came and started giving me energy in my head, and it didn't feel right. And so I said to him, you can get down the mountain faster than anyone else here, so just go, run like a deer. And
you'll get help. Yes.
And he definitely was able to he actually got to the rescue people within 5 minutes of the call from my cell phone coming in. Which is amazing too, because my friends would always tease me in '97, why are you always carrying a cell phone? It's like the only one, and why is that thing ringing? And I'm like, well, I just want to have
That's your life alert right there.
Right?
Yes.
So the people that heard me screaming and knew that I fell were starting to come and wanting to help me. But immediately all my energy had changed. Oh, and when my friend talked to me, then my energy started coming back in my body. And that's how I was able to make that declaration. And so when these other people then started coming into my space, I literally understood the meaning of space. Because I could feel my space, and there were these alien people, like odd, who are people, that carry this consciousness of humanity, where they were afraid. All I could hear was, I better save her, because if I don't, she's going to die, and it's going to be all my fault. And if I don't help her, then, I haven't done my good deed for the day. I mean, all these phrases, and all of them were coming from fear. And so I did not want that in my space. I don't know why. I just didn't want it. So I said to each of them, go find my cell phone and call for help. So they did. They got out of my space, and they went searching to look at okay. So now I start having an experience with the dolphins. Because I've always had dreams of my whole life, from the time I was very little, dreams of me swimming underwater and playing with the dolphins and being able to breathe underwater, and very natural. Mm-hmm. And so I was having this experience with the dolphins, and what they were doing, this pod was swimming around me. And I'm laying on the ground, but you could call this imaginal cellular memory somewhere, I knew that these dolphins were my friends. And so they would touch my body, and everywhere they touched, and I was floating with them, they literally took my inner vision and made it very clear. I could see inside my body, and I saw bones that were broken and frayed snap, like basically snap back into place. And I saw muscles and ligaments and everything that was torn and ripped finding its way back to health. And it seemed very natural and normal to me. Who knows what was actually happening. But I recall this so vividly, even now as I'm telling it again, that it it gives me chills and it lights me up inside to think that our friends are all around us. And I know a lot of people are very connected to dolphins. And I had some prior experiences with the dolphins. If we have time, I'll tell you that. But this was so clearly something otherworldly was happening. And I knew that I was healing immediately. I knew it. And so I got rescued, and a helicopter, you know, the story is all the detail is in my book, got me off the mountain, go to Flagstaff Medical, and this young orthopedic surgeon, wonderful man, says to me, "You're going into surgery." And I remember thinking, and I told him, I want to talk to the team before they touch my body.
Wow, so you were still coherent at that time even.
But he says I was going in and out of consciousness, but I
okay.
wasn't.
Wow.
No, I could hear every single thing that was going on. And what I had in my mind that I wanted to tell him, which actually happened anyway, was that I wanted the team to treat me as though I was alive and well and going to be well. You know, that was it. But I never got to say it out loud. It just kind of happened in the space. So they put a plate to fix my ulna bone, 9 inches, 6 screws, you know, fixed my shoulder, my scapula, irrigated it all, and, you know, my head was all, I don't know what it was. There's nothing coming out of it, but it was hurting up there. So the next day, I kept waking up and falling asleep and waking up, falling asleep, and finally, around 10 o'clock, you know, the nurse came in and I said, "You know, why am I so groggy?" "Oh, you're on morphine." And I go, "Why am I on morphine?" She says, "Well, you're in excruciating pain." And I said, "No, I'm not." "Well, that's because you're on the morphine." "No." "Okay, wait, okay. So I want to get off the morphine." Because while I was talking to her, at the same time, I could see this humongous energy that was beautiful and translucent and clear and communicative, you know, talking to me in a way that I didn't know before that. And then I saw the morphine, and the morphine looked like this dense ball of black energy. And I just knew that the morphine, like this energy, was holding back the morphine, although it was probably doing its job. I don't know. You know, I don't know what's really true. Doctors could say I'm crazy and that, you know. But I do know that my experience of this larger energy was the anesthetation that my body needed,
Right.
so that I didn't feel any pain.
Mm-hmm.
Because they did take me off the morphine. And the very next day, when the doctor came in expecting me to be in excruciating pain and saying, "Why didn't you call me for more pain?" he said, "How are we this morning?" And I said, "Great, how are you?"
Wow.
You know?
And that's without the morphine and everything.
And that was already out of my system, because as soon as they took me off of it, I literally saw this bigger energy eating up the morphine, and it was gone very quickly. And I was not in pain. I didn't have any pain at all. So the doctor said to me then, "Well, we're going to give you a second surgery on your right leg because it's in the same condition as your right arm. We didn't want to overdo, you know, your body all at once." Okay. So we're going to give you x-rays. Great. Well, the x-ray was probably the worst thing that happened in the hospital. Putting me on a cold slab and making my body move
In ways that I don't feel like this right now.
Now I
do
have
this.
22 broken bones. My pelvis is broken in 3 places. Both my legs and feet and ankles are broken, and my whole right side here. So that's the last thing you want to do is be moved.
Right, right.
But I took the x-rays, you know, bared with it. And he comes back and he tells me the results of the x-rays is we're not doing surgery.
Wow.
Right.
And what was the change?
He didn't say. I think it scared him. He never said. He just kind of marked it off as a, but then what happened next, he said, so we're going to cast your left leg. Like, darn, I didn't get to do the surgery, but I'm going to do something for you. There was nothing to do surgery on. Just imagine, total fragmented bones, muscles, and everything healing overnight like that, because maybe because the morphine was gone, but more because God was in my body. So big, so present, so real, and so surrendered.
Yes.
The self was so surrendered that I knew I was going to be fine. And he says, we're going to cast your left leg. And I said, how long? Knowing exactly what doctors would say. And he said that 4 to 6 weeks. And I said, 1. He said, if you do that, I'm going to write a report about you. I said, get out your pen.
Wow.
And that was the end of that. And a week later, he took the cast off my leg. It was done. I could feel it. The swelling had gone down. I could feel that I could move it within the cast. It was healed. I was only in the hospital 3 days.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
Went home without pain. I decided that I would heal completely and totally on my couch in my bed. That would be it. But I would walk, I would walk as much as I needed to, just to get from here to there, maybe to the bathroom once during the day or whatever. I didn't have anybody living with me, but yet my house was filled with people. I don't know how this happened. I never called one person. They all just showed up. They put food in front of my face 3 times a day.
Aww.
They came over and they healed they put me on the table and did massage on my arm, and I don't know what they did, whatever modality they knew how to do.
That's why it's so important to have your tribe with you,
Right?
I mean, when you are in need, they're going to be there for you.
They're going to be there, and
that is so great.
it happens automatically.
Mm-hmm.
There was my room was full of people too, and the word got out very quickly that I had fallen in my small community of Sedona, and immediately there were prayers all over, from who knows where being given to me, and even to the point that I had just become a Young Living distributor of essential oils, healing, organic, medicinal grade essential oils, which the vibration alone, matches our organic structure. And Gary Young himself gave a message through people that I know and said, make sure she gets helichrysum and lavender. Well, helichrysum is for repairing tissue layers. So
we're going to have that written down.
Yes.
Down below
Okay.
after, because people really need to know
Absolutely.
really what is helping and
Yeah.
what has helped you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then lavender, of course, is a great healer, and it just keeps the body relaxed, and not so bad smelling it either
It
during
smells
all day
great.
long. And so I did. I never took a pain pill, and I just slathered, and my friends did, slathered the areas that were broken with helichrysum and lavender. And that's one of the ways that I healed. The other way that I healed was by listening. So I now had an ability to hear God speak to me. And so if I had a question, I could, because I didn't understand, coming from the existence that I had, there was no framework. Probably anyone who has an awakening at this level cannot understand. The mind just actually has no box to hold it in. So it becomes like a creation of a whole new file cabinet in your brain, where you hold this information like, this is the magic of life, this is the magnificence of humanity, this is who we truly are when we're connected, this is how we can live a magical life, the kind of life we want, where happiness is our joy, is our impetus during the day. And so I literally started just saying, well, I don't understand that. Help me understand that. Teach me more about that. And then instead of, I always looked at myself kind of like, I was this enthusiastic person, but I didn't understand what victimhood was. Because it wasn't in my internal language. So even though I had that kind of life, I didn't walk around going, why did this happen to me? What did I do to cause this? I did plenty of blame in my life, but I don't know, somehow that was different for me. So when I started asking these questions, it wasn't about why did this happen? And unfortunately, with the over 12,000 people that I've worked with now, every single person that I've worked with wants to know why. But that part of your brain that wants to know that is not going to heal you. Where you learn about it, that's what's going to heal you. So I don't know how this all happened, but I just started asking, well, teach me about that. Teach me more about that. And I didn't even use the word understand, like I want to understand. I can't say that I knew then, but now I get it. That internal knowing is absolutely all. It truly is all. So the connection got made, and I can tell you more about that if you want, or I could tell you some other things.
Oh my goodness, I just want to keep listening. It's fascinating what you've been through and what you could take in, and it's just right embedded right in here. And so when you say don't ask the why, just understand it has happened and just understand it and learn
from it.
Yes, I love that. I really love that, because we don't have the answers, and we think we do, and when we question it, that's when we get even more up in the air about, well, I still don't know. Just let it come in and sink in and live by it. Right. I love that.
Right. Because when we're trying to find an answer, it's to fit in a context that we already hold. But that doesn't help us grow and learn. What helps us grow and learn is to go outside of the box and ask and find a new place to hold who you are in life in a way that brings out and grows more of you. Because, okay, so I actually healed in 4 weeks. All those broken bones.
That's amazing in itself right there. Amazing. Yeah. When I read that, it's like, wow.
Yeah. That's what I said.
Yeah. Who does that?
Who does
that? Exactly.
22 bones in 4 weeks. Well, actually, here's another little detail. They told me when I left the hospital in 3 days that I only had 9 bones left to heal.
Wow.
So go figure. Because I didn't have to have a second surgery even.
And I think that's the power of the surrendering, what you were saying. Surrender to God and let Him heal you.
That's right.
That's the bottom line right there.
And it was the not bringing my unawareness into it, but bringing more of like a curiosity. What is going on? I want to learn about this. And there was almost like, as I said, a shift of energy, maybe. You can't really tell for sure, but maybe because the message that I have for humanity is so huge and so real. And I love talking and doing public speaking and doing interviews like this. And that's why I wrote my book, to give this message that we are literally embodied. Our DNA is already wired that has God internally. And so why is it that we're not learning somewhere how to turn inward to make sure that we meditate, that we connect, make that connection with God, breathe, like consciously breathe, so that our bodies are empowered all day long. As we go through life and things that scary happen and things shocking happen and people say things, that hurt you that you didn't expect to come. But all of this is our responsibility to get into oneness with, if you will.
Right.
One,
right.
I love the word oneness.
And I think what happens is people block themselves from receiving all that, where they have it inherent in them, they just don't know how to bring it out and open up that block
Right.
and say, okay, I surrender to it. Let me know about it.
Yeah.
Open me up so I can heal myself, that I can see what I have to see and do what I have to do.
Yeah.
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 And, yeah, we have to get people more aware of this, and this is why I love to empower women, to let them know that, hey, you're not alone.
Absolutely.
You are not alone. And there's so many women out here that has stories, fantastic and fascinating stories, and amazing, incredible stories like you. And that's why when I heard that you have this and I read about you, it's like, oh my gosh, I need you on here, because you can empower so many lives out there, not just women, men too, but just to know that, hey, you are not alone, that if you're going through something that's so, that's taken
Severe.
over you,
Yeah.
yes, that you can get out of it.
Yeah.
And there are ways to get out of it. 3 days, more than, 16 bones at 16, yeah, do the math.
22 broken
22
bones
broken
when I
bones,
walked in
right,
here, and
right, and
16, no, 13 bones healed.
13 bones healed.
Healed in 3 days.
In 3 days.
Because I let go.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
That's
the
power
ego
of
wasn't
healing.
holding on to what's going on here, what are they going to do to me, what's going to happen next.
Right, right.
And I hear that all the
So
time.
we need to actually, again, just stop worrying about why, and okay, let's bring questioning into play and opening up
Curiosity,
to
yeah.
awareness, and yeah, instead of no why, let's
True
just
curiosity.
yeah.
Because we are here to grow.
Mhm.
We are here to be connected to our divine, our God, our whatever, Holy Spirit, energy, whatever you want to call it, that is bigger. And I will tell you that in the process of learning that, more people get afraid of that power, embracing it, and then push it down even more, than really bring it in. It only, it takes a very brave, I would say.
Mhm.
I say few, though, because that was true in the past. I really think that this is now changing on a more exponential level,
Right.
because there's an awakening happening.
Mhm.
And that awakening is happening in the brain, so that the brain really can let go very easily of old traumas and old belief systems and old patterns that keep repeating, so that we can actually finally realize ourselves as being the ones that are holding the connection to our God or our spirit, and we can actually become friends with that, to use that energy, and unify that energy, so that, that's why you see people do this, because we're like, we are together now.
Yes.
It is a greeting, but it also is like, oh God, you're here. And to not feel alone anymore. I mean, this absolutely abolishes us ever feeling lonely, because we become all one, which is alone with an extra L in the middle.
That's
All
right.
one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that oneness is here. It's
Mhm.
not so much here.
Mhm.
But it happens. What's so cool is it ends up happening outside of you.
Right.
And that's why you like the phrase that you wrote, because the love that you have in that connection internally is bigger than anything outside of you. But the magic is that the outside then starts to agree with you.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Yes, it is. It
Yeah.
really is, and that's why I had to read that, because it was just so profound, and especially when you get it, when somebody truly gets it
Yeah.
and says, "Oh my God, I understand,"
Yeah.
and that's just realizing that there's so much to learn outside of our bodies
Yeah.
and ourselves, that just look at around the people that you could learn from,
Yeah.
and just take it all in instead of just blocking it, take it in and say,
Yeah.
I want more of that.
Yeah.
I want what she has.
Right.
Just kidding.
I get that comment a lot. Thank you, Meg Ryan.
Yes, exactly. It's great. Now, this is your book right here, and 50 feet in 4 seconds. And so you were like way on the top.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
I was
it's
on the
crazy.
top, yeah.
So this will be, her website's actually right down below. All her information will be there, so you could check out her book. But it's amazing. It's
The
so
book
amazing.
has a lot of detail, and it has a lot of these profound type sayings, because didn't really come from me, you know, and that's the way my life is now, is I've fully integrated, and I was actually told that I was fully integrated about 3 years ago, and I was pushed out. So I was been living in the
You're
country.
ready. You're ready, go.
I had been living in the country for 22 years since I left Southern California. And about a year or two after I was told, you're fully integrated now, I got told to move back here to Southern California. Well, my family is here, so
Okay.
so that's a very good reason.
Yes.
And it's, you know.
Well, I
But,
think that it was just a sign saying that, hey, it's time to heal people here. They need you here.
Bring this message back. And also it was a test for me. It was a test because I was such a fearful person living here. I left a lot of fear here. And each time I came back here, I would do a lot of very deep healing to visit my family, not with them, in my own process. I'd be with my family, and then I would go home and I would just be, in tears for days. Or one of the things I discovered was I had PTSD that I didn't know that I had. But a situation that happened here when I came back to visit triggered it. When I got home, 4 days I cried. I just was so traumatized by earlier events, and they all came up, and so I was able to heal them with my divine right there, and I got over it. But that's an example of probably 18 trips that I had. So when I was told to come back here, I went, no, I don't want to go back, I don't want to face all that. But the truth is that that's just my small self. The bigger self, really, that's all I want to live for, is to evolve this whole being, whatever it's going to be. I still don't know who I am, or who I'm going to be, who I'm going to grow up to be at 66 next week,
We're a learning in process every
Exactly.
day. Yes.
Exactly. So there was a lot to face when I got here. And so the mastery the integration that I have told me, just meet everything with an open heart. And sometimes it was very hard.
Yeah.
Very hard, a lot of tears and a lot of fear. Feeling the fear again is not a whole lot of fun.
So
but knowing that it's transmuting is where it's like, oh, okay.
And how did you really let go of that and start the process of healing and learning to understand, okay, this is a process. What is the process for me to go through
Right.
in order to stop crying those few days? Because we have a lot of that. A lot of depressions going on nowadays.
Yeah.
What do you think you could tell women out there watching? What are some key components that they could integrate now if they're in that situation?
Yeah. Thank you. That's a really good question, because there are some keys, and I actually made a companion CD that goes with my book.
Great.
And because I put in 5 techniques that I learned into the book, and I wrote them down very detailed, and then I made a CD to help guide people if that's not something that they can just read and get on their own. The first technique is to learn to deep breathe.
Okay.
Like literally deep breathing all day long.
And really take everything in and really just try to understand, of course, but really just open up, right?
It's not from here. It's more from here. It's more to expand the body and to make that connection with your God. When you have that connection with your God through the breath, because that is the only thing that's constant in our life, is the breath. We have it when we're born, and it's the last thing we have when we go. And no matter if you stop breathing when you're traumatized or in fear or shocked or whatever it is, you still have a breath. You will stop breathing, but you'll start again. So the point is when you become a deep breather and you practice it all day long so that you are deep breathing, when you get traumatized or shocked, you start the breath. And immediately something begins to change.
Yeah, there's a
You
shift.
become more aware of what to do, or you get an inspiration of how to take care of yourself, or you become more responsible, or whatever the situation is. So that's number one, is to just learn how to deep breathe. And when you do, it becomes a natural habit. Your body wants it. Once you do it a lot, your body wants it because it feels so good.
Right,
It really can keep you very relaxed and peaceful. The other thing is to learn about the chakra system. And in the West here, we have a 7 chakra system that goes from the root of the base of your spine to the crown of your head. And there's colors and certain energies and all of that. And if you want to learn about it, it's very easy to just Google it and you'll see chakra and you'll learn about it. But these spinning wheels that are in our system, called chakras, literally carry energy of certain qualities. And so when you breathe into each chakra with an intention for it to spin in its appropriate way, then it literally will start to make you feel more balanced and grounded. So sometimes I noticed my chakras would all spin clockwise, and that would be that day. And maybe the next day they would all spin counterclockwise. Because we're an organic structure, we have no idea what's going on because we're not connected. So as we get connected, we learn these things of what your body needs, and this empowers you then to learn who you truly are, what you really need, and how to express those needs in a sane way. So chakra clearing, any kind of chakra clearing, any kind. You can sing to yourself, you can hum to yourself, you can breathe.
So when you do the chakras, would you go in a line? Would you start from the head down, or?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
It
You
really
could start
doesn't matter.
even when you're feeling like a heavy feeling here. You could start
Right.
here.
You can
even?
start here and let your heart, if you get scared and you're focused here, then just start moving that willpower chakra and just let it move. Don't direct anything. Let your body show you, let your body teach you what it needs in the moment. Because some days I would have counter and clockwise happening. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Sometimes they would even go upside down. But another thing is doing this one technique that I'm actually guiding people through.
Great.
And that is what I call a self-healing meditation. And it is literally meeting your God inside, but not in the framework that we've had before. It's through color, shapes, the sizes, density, like that. So it takes your mind off of the focus of God, but that is what is happening. That is God, in God's energy, showing you another context. And so I explain all of that. So those are my 3 top techniques.
Love it, love it. Oh, that's so great. Now I want to get back to the dolphins, because I hear so many people either dream about dolphins or they have an awakening with dolphins, and dolphins are very important in people's lifestyle. Why is that?
Well, because they carry the energy of joy, number one. And they are God. Well, we all are, but they don't live in human conditioning. So we have, the only problem with us, our suffering, is that it's connected to human conditioning. And we are wired that way so that we can evolve. So we're living in a time, not answering directly about the dolphins, but this takes me to evolution. Because the dolphins are way more highly evolved than we are. and their structure has nothing interfering with that evolution. And we do. Our structure is built so that we have human conditioning. And that's not our fault. It's just the way that it is. But it's part of our evolution. So the more you can do in this life, the more, well, I believe in reincarnation, and I don't know how many of you do, but I do. And I don't care if I come back, and I don't care if I don't come back anymore, because I'm giving this life everything I've got.
I love that.
I am giving this life everything I've got. I feel like I am truly an example of human potential by my life. And it's because wherever I see a hold where a stop is, I go, okay, I get it. That's my edge, and I'm going to take care of myself in a way that will have me walk through it. And mostly the edges these days they're still tough, but they're doable, and there's not so much drama around it. It's more quieter, it's more relaxed, it's more like, wow, I just walked through that one, okay, good.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, this is awesome, and I want people to know that there is peace that can exist internally. And we're working toward it. I know a lot of people are doing this really great work, and my piece is a good piece. But the thing is, the empowerment part is that everybody has a piece, because we're 7 billion people.
Yes.
And 7 billion people need, even if you only have 5 people that you affect, those 5 turn into an exponential rate. Because right now, we collectively have never lived in a time where exponentialism, if that's a word, we can actually experience it. So I'll give you an example. I'm a trainer for the Oneness University in India, and I initiate people to receive this energy of awakening, and then they in turn give it to other people. Now, what can happen? We don't know. But personally, I have witnessed about 5 people waking up from either our work together or the hands on the head. So why I bring that up is because their prophecy, so in India, they work only on prophecy. It's not a guru type situation where a be-all person knows everything. No, it's the consciousness of humanity that knows what's going on and is giving this information. So the prophecy said 70,000 people awakened worldwide by the year 2000, end of 2012, will give us sort of a tipping point in humanity and start an awakening process, sort of like the 100th monkey. Well, okay, I'd sign up for that, right? So I did. I signed up for that. And I went to India in 2006, and I've been going ever since. So here's what happened. In August of 2012, the 70,000 happened. By December of 2012, there were 325,000 people awakened in the whole world. And in 1 year, there were 3 million, over 3 million. So now we're talking exponential, right?
Yes.
I've never seen exponential happen in my life and witnessed it. So I got to witness this, and I could see it in the consciousness of the people that I'm working with and in the groups that I lead. And this is such a phenomenal and exciting time that we live in. So my work right now is actually moved from self-healing to working with leaders. And this is what I'm told, that next year, by 2016, in the summertime somewhere, some big shift is going to happen in humanity, and things are going to be ready to go into another exponential shift. And so we need to get ready.
Okay.
We need to get ready.
What do you think it's going to be this year?
I haven't been told that yet, and I don't use my brain for that. I don't think stuff. I let the information come to me, and then I talk about it. Because I know my brain can fool me.
Yes.
And I know the difference, and I think we all can. We all can be that clear that we know the difference between what is direction and what is the ego filtering to manipulate our world the way we still want to have control, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I still have that too, and I see it. And the thing is that this is one of the biggest questions that I get asked, and some of you may be asking this already. Well, how do you discern that? So we can do that at another time, because that's like a whole big teaching.
Okay.
But anyway, and I do work with people like on that. When I work with people personally, we definitely are always talking about how do you discern your intuitive sense and the right thing for you, and opening up that which is blossoming inside of you and allowing it to be true instead of bringing the skeptic.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I've always wondered about that too, because I know so many people have their intuition already within them. It's just, how do you know if you really have it, and how do you know how to use it?
Right.
So that could be a whole nother
It's
segment.
a whole big thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ready for the next one.
So where I was going is that this thing that's going to happen next year, what I was shown is that there needs to be a core of leaders in areas that are people that are already leaders in what they do, but they feel a little bit stale and they're letting their lives go that way. They're kind of riding that wave. Well, no. We've got that. We need to inspire that.
Right.
So we need to ground that and then raise the energy, the vibration even higher.
Yeah.
Okay, the second area is people who are holding back their leadership. They know they're leaders. They know what they want to do, or they haven't quite got it into a good form yet. So they're holding back. No, those people got to get going. And those are the people that I'm working with now, because when this thing happens next year, we need to be so grounded in who we are that we then can make that next exponential leap in humanity that's so needed by so many people. I'm actually got the words this last weekend. It's called a new mass consciousness. It's called a new mass consciousness, and we are creating it. And it's not from our ego abilities, because we certainly know how to do all that. It's from our core essence of who we know we need to be, in the truth of who we are, connected to who we are. And that is opening up all over the world.
But are you going to be like coming together as one? Or is everybody going to come together?
I
'Cause
don't
that's
know.
the
There might be a
inspiration.
huge symposium where, I don't know exactly what it's going to look like
Okay, because that's where the
I just know
inspiration
that I'm
comes from.
part-
People come together.
together,
like this.
and
Yes,
they gather.
They do.
And
yes.
here's the key, here's a cool thing about that, because what's happening in the brain now, because all these awakened brains are walking around, you gather with people in a small group or any size group, and whoever's brain is at the highest frequency, that will bring up everyone else's brain to that frequency.
Very
And
true.
so it can cause an awakening in people just by hanging out. But if you want to integrate that awakening, then I need to talk to you. Because integration is like living in a grounded state without questions. Living about knowing your discernment, about your intuition. You live and you know that. There's no doubt. So doubt gets totally wiped out. Your own skepticism gets wiped out. Your own, natural way of being negative first gets wiped out. It doesn't go away forever, but when you're awakened, you actually relate to yourself differently. Yeah,
So true.
it's awesome.
Yeah, that's why I made my Sensual Women program, because I love getting women back to their selves again through their five senses, because we forget to be us. We're always thinking about everyone else these days, but what about you?
Yeah.
What's inside of you?
Yeah.
And bringing their awareness back to their five senses and then integrating it with ancient belly dance movements. it's an awakening. It's very transformational
Yes, it
in,
is.
in itself, and just seeing these women just open up, and literally one day when when they're in my retreats, and then going into my 10-week program. I have an online 10-week program.
Nice.
It's amazing. The women that take it, I get so many great testimonials, and it just, they find themselves again.
Yeah.
And it's just so, I'm honored to be able to bring this out to women,
Yeah.
you know, and that's the passion. you
That
know?
is the
Yeah.
passion. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to sit still.
It's so true. It's true. I know. Every time it's like, I want to dance. I want to
Right, right, exactly. Yeah. So I'm just getting. I would really love to, for the people that see this and know that they want to work with someone personally.
Definitely.
Definitely go find that person. If you feel like you're resonating to what I'm saying, then call me, and I will
Yes.
give a very special rate just for people who have come from your show.
Wonderful. Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. Well, all her information is going to be down below, so everything will be there, I promise you. So yeah, please get a hold of her. She's amazing, and you can see that she's been through a lot, and she healed herself, and that's what's just so important. Just not healing the body, but healing the mind, and just being in the present moment now. And like you were saying, just getting everybody aware of what they can do for themselves, and to be just a better person and a happy person.
Being a happy person.
That's so important, because there's
Yeah.
so many people that aren't happy out there. It's like, just be happy. You can do it.
It's funny that you're saying that, because I just had one client come to me and said, I just have to come and work with you because you're always so happy.
Yes. Yeah.
I want that.
I get that in my classes. It's
Do
like,
you?
she's so contagious. I mean, we want more of Sohaila, you know?
That's great.
It's a good thing. Well, get out there and check her website out, and get this phenomenal book. It's amazing. It would be a life changer for you just by reading this. And it's not, you could read this in
A
literally,
day.
going to bed, before going to bed, and read this, and then
It's
really
very
contemplate it. But I thank you so much, Shana, for being here.
You're so
This
welcome.
has been such a pleasure and an honor for me.
It's totally my pleasure.
This
really.
is so great. Thank you so very much.
You're so welcome.
And I thank everybody out there for watching on Sohaila TV. Until next time, take care of yourself and have a great week. Bye-bye.